guys, this is Becky. I'm here with my second process video. I'm using the Maggie Holmes Flea Market paper pad. And as you can see, I already taped down some papers from there. I used these letters from Prima. One of them is from the Ladybird collection and the other one is from Pastel. And I painted them with some cheap acrylic paint. And I made a mistake because I applied several coats and then I just left them there to dry overnight, and I left them in those puddles of ink, and so I had to pick ink off the edges because it just all dried. It was bad. It took forever to pick all that off, and I have all sorts of paint flecks all over my layout. So I'm trying to decide where I want to put these words. They say the only place in Rome without a line, St. Peter's Confessionals, and I'm noticing one of my E's is gone, and also one of my T's are gone, and so I have to pull out the letters again and repaint two more. And there they are. They're dry. So those frames you see there, I cut 3 white ones and a pink one out on my silhouette. The white ones I cut out of matte photo paper. I had purchased some Canon matte photo paper thinking I might like matte photos, and I don't. I don't like them at all. At least not on my printer. They don't come out very well. And then the pink paper is a piece of paper that was in that paper pad. Now I'm trying to use up a lot of my old stash because I did quite a bit of shopping over this past weekend, Black Friday and Cyber Monday, online. And then earlier in the week, I guess technically by tomorrow it'll be last week, I'd got the email about My Scraps and More closing its doors, or its site going down, and she had 50% off everything, so I took advantage of that and got a lot of stuff, way too much. Now I was really disappointed that they're going out of business, but I did take advantage of it, but it was still sad. So I'm gluing down the Confessionals. I can't decide where I want that St. Peter's to be, and I will go back and forth with it and back and forth. And I tried to cut out most of the stuff because I did not want this to be way too long. I did work on this for several nights. Of course, one whole night was the painting and drying of the letters. And then the next night I started working on it and something came up. And then finally the third night, so this was in like 5 different clips. The video was like in 5 different clips, and I had to piece them all together, and it was just a mess. So this might look choppy, and I'm sorry. So this is where I decided to glue the St. Peter's. I do put it right there. And I'm going to use my T-square ruler to line up these letters as straight as I can. And that little journaling spot over on the left, you can see sitting on the map, that is from one of the papers in that paper pad. There's like a sheet that just has a bunch of journaling spots and tickets and things like that in it. That gold arrow was an arrow that I had cut out on my silhouette a while back, and it was just sitting around, so I put Mod Podge on it and covered it in glitter, and then I sprayed a fixative on top, thinking that would help the glitter not fall off, but it didn't, and I could have skipped that step altogether because the glitter still fell off everywhere. So I'm going to glue down that journaling spot. That light green vellum was on a cut apart sheet, I believe was a My Mind's Eye paper. So I'm going to trim it down, and I played around with putting it on, thinking I was going to put it on either side of the picture. but I don't. I end up putting them both on the right hand side. And then when I put the second piece on to the right hand side, I put it on crooked, and when I ripped it off, I ripped it and ended up having to glue it on. So it was giving me a fit. So I'm going to tuck that frame underneath there. Now I usually pop up my photos, but this time I decided not to. Decided I'd try something different instead of doing the same thing that I usually do. And I really want to, I decided that with this paper pad, if I get 10 layouts out of it, then I'll be done with it. This is only layout number 6. So 4 more. Now I'm going to put that gold arrow down. I'm going to use some foam tape to pop it up. There's little wood veneer heart is from Studio Calico. And I play around with that geotag and I don't end up using it. The back of that paper, see that? This is really one-sided paper. It's a VCWV paper pad called Retro Mod or Mod Retro or something like that. It has a lot of sewing in it, a friend of mine gave me. And I don't care for the patterns, but the paper itself is super thick, and then the back side is kind of this creamy color, and it's just so smooth. I love it. I'm punching out a bunch of 1/2-inch circles. I'm just sitting them on randomly on some of the dots. I'm going to use these 1/2-inch glue dots on the backs of them, and they're kind of thick glue dots, so they're a little raised. And those dots are out of that flower pattern paper. It's the same paper that the photo is matted in. So I play around with this little thing. I end up tucking it under there. It's just a 2-inch circle with a 1-inch circle punched out of the center of it. I used a glue dot for that too. Excuse me. See that little word? It says noteworthy. In this paper pad, there was a sheet of paper that just has words, so I cut out a couple of the words. I'm going to use 2 of those tickets. I'm going to staple them together and cut them down and tuck them under there. Then I'm going to staple that noteworthy word on there. I end up taking everything I stapled. I ended up coloring my staples with the gold Signo pen. It actually turned out really good. And that one says so funny. And it really was very funny. And I'm just going to staple that down there. There's another wooded heart from Studio Calico. I ended up putting a circle up at the top, on top of one of those circles, and inside this, a wood veneer circle, and inside the circle there was a heart. It's also Studio Calico, and I colored the heart in with the gold Signo pen. I didn't do that on camera, but you'll see it just suddenly appear up top. That is a flower that I fussy cut out of the same flower paper that I backed the photo in. I'm looking at it trying to decide what it needs, because it needs something and I don't know what. So I'm drawing lines on there with that gold Signo pen. And I do it on the top and the bottom. And then I write my journaling in it. The journaling just says, September 11th, 2015, we towards St. Peter's Basilica while in Rome, and truly the Confessionals were the only place without a line. And I just showed you that gold twine I wrapped it around that pink ticket that's poking out the top of the picture. And I stapled it down and colored the staples. Now I'm using these teeny tiny gems from Recollections, and I love those. They are super cute. And that is going to be it. So thank you so much for joining me. Oh, actually, that's not it. I end up putting some fancy pants gold hearts down there. And then that's it. So thank you for joining me, and I hope you have a blessed day. Bye.